Problematic. Once we put the edging around all of the windows, we're going to add the floor in the garage today. I know in the last video I said it was going to be the bathroom, but we've come across some snags to do with building that, so we've changed tact. We're going to put the floor down in the garage, and then next you will see us building the kitchen. I've ordered the fridge and the oven and everything like that, so we're going to work on that side. The shower's just going to wait till next time.
There are 2 types of flooring going down in the van. Today we're doing the garage, but first we were finishing off boxing in the back window, and look at this for teamwork. This was probably the fiddliest piece of the van so far, just because of the way it was angled.
Here's the little bugger. I needed to cut a little bit out, and it's a really weird, odd shaped with diagonal ends. Anyway, watch it when I get it in. It's bloody perfect. Need to attach that. And pops, perfect timing. I've been doing the edges, haven't you? Yeah. Wow.
So we then took it all off, added the trusty glue and those little nails again to get that attached at the top before adding in the edging. Same process with the glue, but we use minimal nails here just to try keep the aesthetics looking nice, which I think it does. Finishes it off lovely. Next we move on to the alcove around the bed, and the top and the right hand side one were no problem, but once again on the left we have an issue.
We've come across a little problem, of course. We're adding these edging strips around the bed, around the edge of this side of the bed, which is fine. But this side here, I've not built out as far as this side. You can see this bit is much shallower than this bit at the top. It sticks out a wee bit more. So what we're actually going to do is cut another piece of ply to fit this bit, just to try bring that out a bit, because otherwise this edging was just sitting off the edge. It wasn't sitting flush to the wall like that one. It's because nothing is straight in the van. Problematic. And to make sure we get a straight line, we're clamping a piece so we can run the jigsaw against this piece of wood. Okay, we've cut the other piece to fit it perfectly, but now what's happening is they're all different layers. So this piece of ply here is slightly underneath this piece of wood here, which is slightly underneath this piece of ply here. And to attach another piece on here to build this out like we need, it then doesn't sit flush because this tiny bit is in the way. So I think Dad's going to try some carpentry now to try just knock it down to the level of this ply.
Here he is then, the man of many, many talents, showcasing us a new one. So he's just sharpened this tool before using it, and what we're going to do is take down, layer by layer, this piece of wood so it's even and flat with the ply beneath it, so we can add the next layer of ply on top, perfectly flat. Look at that.
Oh, perfection. Yeah, look at that. Oh, he's good, isn't he? He's good. Snug fit?
Yeah.
Awesome. So then now, is this the side that we need? Could you try that? Can you see if that's fixed the problem? Yeah.
Now that we'd solved that problem, we were able to attach that piece of ply onto the work underneath using some glue and nails, which we did for the right hand side edging as well. But on the top, you can see here Dad used some caulking down the top and the left hand side, just because things weren't so flat and it just gave a much neater finish.
Looks so neat. It no longer looks like a botched job. Onto this side now. That one's gone in fine. No bother. Didn't actually buy enough, did I? So I'm going to have to go get some more. Third time lucky. But I've got 2 pieces left. And because this one is not straight on any level, curvy, I think what I'm going to have to do is cut sort of halfway. And then attach them together so there'll be a join at sort of like the thinnest part. I think that's the way I'm going to have to do it. So I'll mark there and I'll cut them, and then one will angle that way and one will angle out. A bit like I did on the pieces of wood behind that.
As you can see, this is not a straightforward job, but the bottom piece was no problem. That second piece I actually cut in the wrong angle to start with, so I made the gap bigger and not less. So I had to flip it 180 degrees and recut it.
I've done the edges, as you've just seen. We have the left and the right sides. And then Dad, genius man. We've got the flat one to cover, you know, the gaps like this in the ply. And we certainly don't need all of that we've got. So he was like, well, why don't you just cut that flat? Obviously cut the edges to triangles and put that there, because we've got the LED lights to go underneath. So there's no real point for an L-shaped bracket. I just need to hide my sins. So we're gonna make do with what we've got, and I'm gonna cut this to size and fit that instead. So let's see if this works. Buzzing. Boom. And they're done. I've just hoovered, so it's the cleanest in here it's been for quite some time. Let's do the floor.
Firstly though, the silicone that was in the van when I bought it had to be removed.
So as I mentioned before, I'm using two different types because this was a freebie from a wonderful friend of mine called Claire. She did her living room floor probably last summer. I told her what I was planning to do, so she gave me the leftovers, bless her. So we've got 2 packs of this, which are going to fill from this bed line backwards. And then this is my underlay stuff that goes underneath it. It's really like tacky, so it doesn't slide. So I've got that to go underneath it.
You can see here that Dad has added a piece of wood on the floor to divide the spaces between the garage and the living space, and he's lined this up perfectly with the bed strat above.
And then that means that we can just laminate from this joist all the way to the back. We're going to go completely up to the wheel covers, because we do have covers. We have wheel covers for these, but Dad says we put the laminate underneath and then put the wheel cover on top, because then what that will allow is the laminate to expand and shrink in the temperature, and it will slide underneath the cover. So I thought that was really good. My job's probably just going to be to cut this. I feel completely useless in these parts of the build. Especially now I've got so good at using the tools. I'm happy using the power tools, and I can just, you know, actually help. Back to being an assistant today. Well, look at that. The perfect size. Mega.
It's the little things like that that keep happening that make me realise that I am aligned with my purpose and I should be doing this. Everything's just happening so easy, as it should. And this underlay was super simple to cut, and we just fit it around the wheel arches, no problem.
Looks pretty neat there, huh? So we're going to start from right to left. And that means we've got to fill in these gaps around the wheel arches first, because that just about fits one in, and then the second one in is going to have a touch taken out for this. So we thought we'd better off, instead of starting from the middle outwards and then ending up with the tiniest bit to fit in there, we're going to start that way and come this way and see if that helps.
So we needed to cut smaller bits to fit that gap first, and then the second piece only needed the smallest bit out to fit around the wheel arch.
Way. Nice one.
And from that moment on, because we didn't have to trim them down at all, it was super quick to get the rest in until we ended up at the wheel arch on the other side, where we repeated the process that we'd done on the first side, and I'd learnt a new skill.
Finito. How good does that look? Oh, I'll put the casings over them.
Yeah, that's
Looks awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it really does. So we'll be putting a metal L bracket to finish this off, so ignore that for the time being, but it looks lovely, especially with the sun now coming in. Wow. I'm going to put the trimmer in next then. Another stage finished. Looks lush, doesn't it?
Now let's take a little trip down memory lane, shall we? Do you remember this? This is what Betty looked like in day one. All of that disgusting floor before we brush treated it. Ta-da! So then we added the multi-layered modern insulation down before the windows went in. We put the max fan in, the solar went in, more insulation including the kingspan. Then we built the bed, added the skylight, the roof got cladded and the lights went in before we started boarding her out. And finally now the garage floor has been completed. What an achievement. And none of this would have been possible without this man here. My dad Nick. What a legend. I mean, you've all seen it, but I just wanted to show appreciation to the man that is making my dreams come true. The best dad a girl could ever ask for. Thanks, Pops. Love you.